Hey, welcome to another video. I'm Espen Kraft. Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to check out this new MPG-50 Mark II from Retroactive. This is a controller for the Roland Alpha Juno or MKS-50. And today I have two Roland Alpha Junos here because with this new Mark II controller, I can control both of these in different ways at the same time. So stick around. At first glance, both revisions of the MPG-50 look exactly the same. The size is the same and the fader layout is also the same on both MPG-50s. But you can see that the MK2 has a bigger OLED display in the middle there, and the MK2 also has another MIDI port at the back, which can come in handy if you have a more elaborate setup. It also seems that the faders ride more flush with the casing on the MK2 than on my original MPG-50 to the right there. And I really dig that new controller stand or holder that they now provide as an accessory. If you have the original Juno synth, you can use those holes in the synth itself, holes originally made for the sheet music stand, to hold the new controller in place in a quite fancy way. I really like that. You can also tilt the controller slightly, very cool. Even if the original MPG-50 and the MK2 looks pretty much the same, there are quite a few differences here. The biggest one is that you can now store banks of patches within the controller itself. That's a big one. As I told you in the beginning, you can control two alphas or MKS-50s from the controller at the same time. You have a bigger OLED display, you have another MIDI port, etc. So there are quite a few upgrades going on here. So let's check this out. So let's try to control two Alpha Junos in stack mode first. Sound number 1 on the first alpha. Sound number 2 on the second alpha. So what I'm going to do now is to use that volume fader on the MPG-50 to act as a crossfader between Unit 1 and Unit 2, just as you would on a Roland MKS-70, where you can control the volume between the two layers. A feature I used a lot while I was gigging with the MKS-70, the ability to fade sounds in and out from a fader like that is very cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play both of these alphas from an external master keyboard. So I have to set up the MPG-50 to be able to receive and transmit the MIDI channels correctly onto the different units. That's what I'm doing right here. So the first alpha will be receiving on MIDI channel 2 and the second alpha will be receiving on MIDI channel 3. And so in this example, I'm not going to use multi-unit poly mode. I'll show you that in a second. This is stack mode, where I can control the layers independently. All the sounds you're hearing here are from the patch bank that is bundled with the MPG-50 MK2. Okay, let's check out another example of stack mode. A couple of different sounds. I've also detuned the two alphas slightly different. Pay attention here, I only have 6 voices of polyphony on each Juno. So let's check out the other setup. This is called MultiUnit Polymode, and now you can have a 12-voice Alpha Juno or MKS-50. How about that? So the idea here is that you load up the same patch on both synths, and thus you have a 12-voice Alpha Juno or MKS-50. Very cool. And again, if you detune those two synths differently, like I have in this example, it sounds incredibly fat. Let's check it out. So that's the one alpha, every second note cut off. The second alpha, again, every second note cut off. But now I blend both together. That's 8 voices right there. So let's find a nice warm patch, and in my new bank, which is included, I have a patch called Angelic, and have that patch loaded up on both synths, even more detuned than last time. Raise the filter slightly on that first one. And let's play those together from the master keyboard. And now I can even use the sustain pedal because I have 12 voices of polyphony. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. Love it. And there's also been some reduced zipper noise while you're moving faders. I know this has been an issue with some in the past, but I think it sounds pretty smooth now. And just like the MPG-8X earlier, the new OS in the retroactive controllers makes it now possible to save and store patches, Sysex transfers from the synth itself over into the MPG-50. So let me just try to transfer that bank I have in that one Juno over to the MPG-50 and store those patches there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to receive that Juno bank 1 from unit 1. It says press enter to execute, and it says on the display what I'm going to do on the Juno. And it is in essence the same procedure as bulk dumping a bank over Sysex, those 3 buttons there. And it says receiving tone bank on the MPG-50. Takes a little while to dump those 64 patches. Sysex receive complete. So now I can go out of that one. And pressing shift and load and check out the display. I can now load in 4 different banks, and I have one already in the MPG-50, the one I just transferred. But I can also load in different types of objects, patches, setups, assigns, etc., CC maps, just as I told you earlier. Let's go for that first bank, and I press enter on that. And here you can see those different patches in that bank I just transferred. So if I now hook up this MPG-50 to another Juno or another MKS-50, I can load back into that synth each and every one of these patches individually or as a bank. Very slick, very fast, and easy. Well, the MPG-50 Mark II has some advantages over the original controller. If it's enough for you to consider an upgrade, I don't know, but check out the video description for links to find out more about this MK2 controller. And as I mentioned in the video, my original patch bank for the Alpha Juno plus another brand new patch bank designed by myself is included with the MPG-50 Mark II. Check out the Retroactive site for more info about that one. As always, I'm Espen Kraft and I am the 80s. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.